Back live at Inside the Game, episode 208. Wow, that is right out of the gate. You know that one what I'm thinking of the one time where you forgot to turn the
Oh,
system value down. We're talking about funny moments on this show. We were before coming into this show, and we were mentioning JT's son Nathan, who is just a hoot. I mean, that kid manages to make me laugh every time I'm down there with something that he's doing. But I vividly remember one time for some reason the volume on that board was on like a million, and JT, Jonathan Turner, who used to be on our show during season 1, is now obviously stepped away here for season 2, but I think he was in the middle of making a point and maybe had just wrapped up a thought, and Ryan went to go press that thing, and he burst both of our eardrums, both of them, for both of us.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Remember the one where I actually pushed live and it was just John on the camera for the first the first 5 seconds. Remember that one? And John's like, "We're live." I was like, "No, we're not." And he's like, "We're live." And I just he's muted, you can't hear anything obviously with the people, but there was actually he was just sitting there. He's yelling at me, and you could see him yelling at me, but you can't hear the words. But yeah, no, that was another one. Oh, also, by the way, apologies for not being here yesterday. I barely was alive in terms of waking up. I had, I think, a sinus infection because I felt a heartbeat in my teeth. So yeah, I imagine that's probably what a sinus infection is. But we're here though. Also,
Probably something along those lines.
Also, don't know how I made it today either. I'm just looking at the roads right now, and I don't know how I made it here either without at least getting hit. The roads are horrible, especially if you're watching here in Michigan. The roads suck.
Man, y'all are so dramatic over there on the east side. You know that? Y'all are so damn dramatic. You don't have to deal with lake effect. You don't have to deal with all of a sudden you look up and there's a foot of snow on the ground. All right, I'm driving around like a sled every day over here. And y'all get a little dusting, and all of a sudden it's the worst thing in the world. What?
Nate, can I ask you how many miles you got? How many miles you drove to get to the show today?
5 feet. Okay. About 5 feet. All right. So that's it. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm very grateful we don't have a lake effect like you guys. That's insane how you got the crazy lake effect that you have. Also, since you're in
sure it poured. Yeah, it was dumping down yesterday. So I'm sure you guys got whatever we got. So just busting your cojones a little bit here.
Obviously, you're west side of the state, Grand Rapids. Did you realize? Again, I don't know their names on TikTok, but there are Josh Clark and Jason Riley. There's these two British people right now that are touring Michigan, and they're in Grand Rapids right now.
I did see that.
So.
Well, I saw their Detroit segment yesterday. They were doing some Detroit stuff. I saw that. But then I saw they tried traditional Mexican downtown Grand Rapids. They went to, man, what's the restaurant? It's MEXO. I don't know how it's pronounced, but I think it's downtown GR is where they had it. I didn't watch their entire review, but I thought it was funny because they were making light of what the hell do you mean traditional Mexican food in Grand Rapids, Michigan? We're nowhere close to Mexico. And then they went in. They're like, this is pretty damn good. So I don't know how much of their content you've been watching, but it seems like they're enjoying their Michigan experience. I'm always for these Brits and some of these other Europeans that come over and they're like, this place is actually pretty cool. It's not as terrible as we thought it was initially.
What's a place that the National Soccer Network should go tour and just say random things in random towns that we know, like how they said Saugatuck.
Oh yeah,
Sagutak.
How'd they say Mackinac? Did they try to say Mackinac?
I didn't see that one. I didn't see that one.
That would be fun. I guarantee you it's Mackinac. You ask anybody that's not from Michigan, it's Mackinac. Every single time it's Mackinac. I do remember, and this would have been a fun one too. I remember what show was it? I believe it was Jimmy Fallon, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, and Keegan-Michael Key was on the show, and he had him pronounce streets in Detroit. That was really funny. Which
where he did in the Fox Theater, his show.
Yeah. So that one was really good. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of their videos because, like I said, I was watching a little bit of the traditional Mexican they were trying the other day, and then I also saw one of the members of it's two guys. One of them talk about how much he loved Detroit, which I think is cool. And coming from my perspective and Ryan as well, like the stuff about Detroit that people believe about the city of Detroit. Listen, if you've never actually been to Detroit, I don't respect anything you have to say about that city. I don't respect a single word you have to say about the 313 unless you've actually been to the 313. If you've been downtown, if you've gone to Greektown, Corktown, sports, follow me. Yeah. And by the way, Eminem's a top 3 rapper of all time. That's undebatable. All right. Pac and Big and Eminem. That's it. All right.
Pac,
there is a
Pac, Eminem, and who?
Pac, Big, and Eminem. Now, Pac and Big are interchangeable at number 1, but M is a close right behind them.
I'm not a big Biggie fan, but I like Pac. Pac and Eminem are very good. I'm not a big Biggie fan. Never have been.
That's fair. But I feel like Big would have had a chance to make a lot more hits. Obviously, he was killed
Thanks,
young,
P. Diddy.
So, yeah.
All because of Puff Daddy.
Did you see those leaks? M was alleging back in 2003 that it was actually Suge who was behind it. So,
the document, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that nobody knows about.
I think the LAPD knows, but ain't nobody want to talk about it. But we don't have to get into.
They're going back. There's trial this year about the Tupac and Biggie murders. You know that, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'll have to find the exact.
They reopened the case.
They didn't reopen the case, but one of the people. So there's only I forgot in the documentary, but there's only like 2 or 3 people in this world that know about who murdered who, and obviously P. Diddy, and there's another rapper / person, whatever who it was. I forgot who it was, but I'll have to pull it up, but he's actually supposed to go to court this year about it.
I think Eminem knows.
Oh,
I do genuinely think he knows. And it's funny because like there were leaks recently, and I was reading into this a little bit, and people were like, "Well, is this AI?" Because I was listening to a few, specifically a Suge Knight diss track last night that Eminem had put together 20 years ago. He had been sitting on this for 20 years, and he brought this to Dr. Dre, 20 years ago, and Dre said, "No, you can't put this out." He goes, "You don't understand." He goes, "Something like this is going to start a war, an actual war. You cannot drop this." And so I was listening to it last night, and yeah, I mean, he was sitting on a nuclear bomb for literally 20 years, but he was instructed by Dre to stay out of the beef. So I don't know, man. I think if there's anybody that's in the know, M is probably one of them that's definitely in the know. But there's that whole conspiracy about Suge getting in with the LAPD. So why would anybody out Suge Knight in that situation? But then again, I'm sure some of those officers, if they were a part of it, are probably now retired. They're long gone. I mean, this was again dead. 2 decades ago, or they're dead. So it's
Keefe D.
There's a reason why it's
Keefe D. Okay. He goes to trial on February 9th of this year, which it was supposed to be in November of last year, but it got postponed. And I wonder if the documentary had anything to do about that. But yeah, he is a former gang member accused of orchestrating the drive-by shooting with his murder trial set on February 9th after delays.
Yeah.
And he is the only
Even if they do, though.
He's the only person charged.
Go ahead.
At the moment. So, you're
yeah, I mean, there's going to be a fall guy, right? Like, I don't even think if they did figure it out that they would actually get the real guy. They'd probably get the guy that they set up to be in that position. Like, hey, you got to take the fall for this. So, listen, man, yeah, I don't know. But all I'm saying is that I do think if you've never been to Detroit, to circle back on my original point, come to Detroit before you make judgments on it. Also, I'm just saying, and it's not just because I'm from Michigan, and it's not just because of my complexion, all right? I genuinely think he is a top 3 rapper of all time. But let's get into our show a little bit here today on Inside the Game, episode 208. We're going to be talking about a lot. Jasmine Aikey had a chance to have a conversation with our very own Ryan Glinsky yesterday. Really good talk with you two. We'll get some of your takeaways on that conversation coming up here shortly. Also, Pat McAfee naming Chris Richards the U.S. Men's National Team Player of the Year. And as much as we love Pat Mac, I tell you what, he's not afraid to maybe go out and make a buffoon of himself, because he said a few things during that interview that I know football fans are going to be like, man, this big dumb American, why is he speaking on our sport? But like I said, I love Pat Mac. I love his energy, so it translates anywhere, and I feel like people are going to have a little bit of forgiveness for that stuff, especially if it's him. And then getting into our all sports stuff, the worst matchup of all time in each professional sport. This could be year. It doesn't matter. One team any generation, doesn't matter. Who's the worst matchup in each sport, according to you? Harbaugh to the Giants. John Harbaugh signing a new big contract with San Francisco. Who am I talking about? New York Giants. Is he going to bring them back to the promised land? Also, the NBA trade deadline coming up. Who should the Pistons go after? What's their best options? They have all their first-round draft picks to trade. It's been a while since they've been able to do that. They could really make a big splash this year. But before we get into any of that, I wanted to mention this really quickly. This was something that came across the timeline yesterday. Jonathan Turner sharing this with us in our group chat. The Michigan soccer community mourning the loss of coach Matt Boersma. And he was a respected coach. He was a mentor. He was an advocate for the game. Passed away yesterday at the age of 52 years old. Really left a lasting impact. And I'm reading this verbatim from the NSN website, but left a lasting impact on soccer in the Lansing area and across the state of Michigan through his work with the Lansing Rush, Michigan Jaguars FC, and obviously his instrumental involvement in advancing high school soccer coverage statewide in the state of Michigan. Did great work and obviously was huge with our network and good friends with a lot of the people that we know. And decade and a half, over a decade and a half of doing the work that he did. And our whole goal here on the National Soccer Network is what he kind of dedicated his life to, which is spreading this game in the United States and getting more people involved, especially on the media side, which gives us opportunities to spotlight some of the top players in the country. Like we're about to talk with Jasmine Aikey. It's important, the role that he played. It's critical, the role that he played in all of this. And so our hearts go out to that family. Just to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the legacy that Matt left on the soccer scene, not only here in the state of Michigan, but I'm sure it branched out beyond that, because you're not in it for that long and don't have tentacles that go out every which direction and really spread beyond just the borders of our state. So Matt was a guiding light in all of this. So we definitely appreciate you guys, and may he rest in peace. But speaking of what we got coming up in terms of spotlighting the game, obviously Jasmine Aikey got the chance to sit down with you yesterday. Could not be involved in that conversation myself. I was doing some college basketball. But Ryan, I'll leave the floor to you. You got the chance to chat with her. What was that conversation like, and how's she feeling after getting that esteemed award, the Mac Herman Trophy Award?
Well, she talked about how she's been there before, and she's been on watch lists, a couple times. She's been a semifinalist as a sophomore, which is really incredible. And talking to Jasmine and, just kind of doing some research on her, she's a very well-decorated Stanford athlete. Like, she's won Pac-12 championships back when the Pac-12 was a thing. And then the ACC championships, obviously, now. And she said the one thing that she wishes she had was a national championship, and rightfully so. And then also just talking about conference realignment. That was another thing that we talked about, and how she kind of enjoyed that the way that Stanford did it, their trips, before school they would go, before the school semester started, all that fun stuff. And she was there all 4 years, and that's something that you don't typically see all the time. She's also represented the U.S. women's national team at the youth stage, just talking about why are U.S. women's soccer players so good? Why are we so good as a country? Told her that hopefully she can bring us another World Cup. And also, she just signed a pro contract to the inaugural Denver Summit FC NWSL team.
Wow.
So we was talking about that. And I asked her, I was like, so how did an inaugural team ask you? Like, what's the pitch on any of this? Like, that's just crazy to me. And then talk about getting rid of the NWSL draft. So a whole bunch of great stuff. She was very respectful, and right before she got on, the SID Tyler hopped on from Stanford and said, yeah, this is her third interview of the day. And I was like, wow, that's got to be a little rough. But no, Jasmine was really good.
Yeah.
Tyler was really good at communicating and getting the interviews situated for me and us here at the National Soccer Network. So nothing but praise for both of them and the Stanford program as well. But yeah.
Yeah, well, hey, man, I mean, if you're going to be that good, you gotta be ready to learn media, and I'm sure Jasmine Aikey is learning all about the media with all these interviews. But yeah, good conversation with you guys. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a step aside, and when we come back, We're going to get that exclusive interview with our very own Ryan Glinsky and Jasmine Aikey, who's getting ready to take over in the NWSL, obviously after winning a national championship in that Mac Herman Trophy. But that interview is around the corner. Let's step aside and be right back. It's episode 208 on Inside the Game.
We are joined by Mac Herman Trophy winner from the women's side, Jasmine Aikey. Jasmine, thank you for joining us here today on the National Soccer Network. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great. You're in Denver, I heard?
Yes, just moved out here.
Moved out here? Oh, yeah, I heard. Oh, by the way, congratulations on the NWSL contract. Props
Thank
to you. But yeah, basically, what have been the last couple of days been like since winning the Mac Herman Trophy?
Pretty busy, a lot of travel. I flew home to California from St. Louis and then immediately the next morning flew out to Denver and got moved into my new apartment.
Oh, wow. And I noticed you've been a semifinalist before. You kind of been on that watch list a couple of times. When you were going to the Mac Herman Trophy ceremony this time, were there a couple doubts in your head a little bit, or were you really confident that you were going to finally win this one?
No, I mean there were definitely doubts. Izzy and Jordan are amazing soccer players, and I knew they were, stiff competition, and they had incredible, seasons and careers in college. So definitely doubt.
And speaking of Stanford, what brought you to Stanford?
Yeah, hometown kid. I grew up watching the Stanford women's soccer games and just living in Palo Alto. You hear about how great Stanford is, but really living there, you kind of get an idea of just how amazing it is to go there. And it was just always a dream of mine.
And another thing is when I was looking through some of your accolades, I saw Pac-12 champion in there, which again I totally forgot that Stanford was in the Pac-12 because now you guys are in the ACC. Tell me what conference realignment has been like for you guys. What has that been like for yourself and as a team?
Yeah, it's definitely provided its own unique set of challenges, mostly with like traveling to the East Coast. But I think the university has handled it pretty well with what we were given. We're lucky on the quarter system. We're able to do one of our trips out to the East Coast before school starts. But yeah, honestly, it really hasn't been much different besides, I think, a higher level of competition soccer wise.
Have you experienced any like jet lag before a game? Are you a little bit sluggish in those away games?
Sorry, I'm like actually trying to think about the games we played away.
Oh, you're
No,
good.
I felt pretty good. I think actually we had an advantage going to the East Coast because it was earlier for us. I think some teams might have felt a little tired playing a 10 p.m. game that was 7 o'clock for us. And I think the team's really professional and we prepared ourselves well for every game.
And you at Stanford, you were there for 4 years, and now in the college landscape, we have the transfer portal and all that fun stuff. And some players, like I just saw a football player, he's been to like 8 different schools in 5 or 6 years, which is just crazy to me. But you're there for 4 years at Stanford. How important was it for you to stay at Stanford for 4 years, and how important is it for just players to be at a school for 4 years?
Yeah, obviously, I think the transfer portal and landscape of college soccer is changing really every week at this point. But it was so great for me to settle into a place and really just get immersed into not only the soccer team but like the school, like my classmates, like meeting professors and making those relationships. I'm so grateful I got that opportunity. I know everyone doesn't get so lucky to, get to enjoy a place for 4 years, but I think if you can, it's definitely worth trying.
Yeah, and that's great to see because not many people are like that. And I've noticed that in your accolades, you've won countless conference championships, a couple of conference tournament championships, and making some runs in the NCAA tournament. Does it feel like you've accomplished everything that you could at Stanford?
I mean, obviously, I would have liked to have a national championship or two. We got close, three times really, but yeah. Besides that, really was grateful for everything that how it panned out for me. I had a pretty tough end to my season last year, breaking my ankle and missing the last like 7 games. But I think academics wise, like graduating with my degree, I really did do everything I set out to do. So very happy about that.
And speaking of graduating, we kind of hear a Stanford degree. Like there's a couple schools across the country where like that someone says they're from there, they have a degree from there. That kind of just carries like a little bit of different weight just because that's the school. Stanford being one of those. What does it mean to have that Stanford degree for you?
I think it really just means everything to me and my family about like the work I've put in. My mom was an immigrant from Haiti, and she always focused on school and instilled that in me. So to be graduating with this degree, it's really incredible, and I'm grateful. And I think that also leads back into why I, never left early or transferred. Stanford's just an amazing academic institution along with its soccer. So it's just great to be here.
And looking at you made a impact early as a freshman in playing a ton of minutes. What was that like? Yeah, what was that like breaking through a team as good as Stanford as a freshman?
It was actually very difficult for me personally. I think also just adjusting to college. I ended up going a year early, so I was 17 my whole freshman year.
Wow.
I remember calling my dad the first week of preseason and I told him, I'm gonna have to redshirt. I'm playing so badly. Like this is going terribly. Um, and I think a lot of that was just like nerves and settling in, but it ended up going pretty well. So yeah, it was definitely hard on me.
If you had any advice to any soccer player out there, whether that's at the youth level, the travel soccer level, or even in the collegiate level of a young player trying to break into a really good team and a veteran team, what would you have for them?
I think you really have to, strike a balance between criticizing yourself and building your confidence, which is something that I definitely struggled with. And I think I'm going to struggle with moving into this new amazing NWSL team. But yeah, be critical, like look at your mistakes and look at what you can improve on. But remember the things that you're good at and why you're there and really work on those things.
Do you think those little early mistakes early on in your career have helped you up to this point and ultimately with your Denver team?
Yeah, I mean, I think the seniors, my freshman year, and the older girls, really set the tone, and it was really nice to get that experience of, being a younger player and coming into a team like that. And I think that my role has definitely changed the past 4 years. I think if you ask anyone, my first 3 years, really, I wasn't a big leader on the team, but this past year, I really tried to live into that role, and I was happy with how it went.
And now progressing into some of your soccer outside of Stanford. What was the recruiting process like for you to even get into Stanford? Were you recruited out of your high school, or were you kind of out of your ECNL travel team?
Yeah, it was definitely out of my ACNL travel team because I was homeschooled, so I didn't go to
Oh
high
wow.
school. So,
Oh,
yeah, I don't know if people know that. Yeah, I've been homeschooled since eighth grade, and that's how I ended up going to Stanford a year early. So, yeah, it was definitely a weird process. I pretty much just knew I wanted to go to Stanford, and I didn't really look elsewhere, to be honest. So, I was very glad it worked out.
and I noticed that you have represented the U.S. women's national team at the U20 level and have been in various training camps. What is that like to put on the USA crest?
Um, that also, I think, is just like feels surreal. You think about the people who have done that before you, the women that have really paved the path, and it was just really an amazing experience. I was grateful that I was able to do it.
Are there any of the Alex Morgans of the world, any of those players that have kind of motivated you or been kind of like an idol to look up to?
Yeah, one that definitely comes to mind is Katarina Macario. I watched her in eighth grade win that 2019 national championship, and always have looked up to her. And she's a level in college that I did not reach, but it was really enjoyable to watch her dominate and now dominate the U.S. women's national team.
Behind me, we have the flag of all the a couple of the World Cups, 3 of them. We don't have the 2019 one added onto it, but we had 2015, 91, and 99. So hopefully you can eventually get us that next one, and we can put it up on the flag. Hey, maybe you could sign it for us too. Who knows?
Hey, that would be sick.
But ultimately, you're with the now into your next chapter in your soccer career. You're with the Denver Summit FC in the NWSL. It'll be their inaugural season coming up. How do you get I shouldn't say recruited, but how do you get scouted? How do you get in touch with an inaugural team that doesn't exist yet?
Yeah, I think the process is different for everyone, but I will say that Denver's scouting team has done an amazing job getting like some amazing players together, and I'm so excited to play with my teammates. But I think it's pretty similar to the free agency style that is done in Europe for soccer, which is why we got rid of the draft. But yeah, I think being a good player in college soccer really helps you get on the radar of these teams.
So what were those conversations like when did you have any questions like it's an inaugural season here like what's the like you don't really have a culture built in place yet like what were some of those conversations like?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like, it's different than going to an established team. But, when I was talking to the staff and the people who recruited me, they were so excited and they were all on the same page that I knew that it wouldn't matter that we were an inaugural team. I really wanted to come here and it was going to be a great opportunity. So, yeah, definitely there's going to be growing pains, but I'm so excited to be a part of the first team.
Is there any player that you're looking or any team or player that you're really looking to play against this upcoming season?
I mean, yeah, I really want to go back home and play Bay FC. I have been watching their games in person for the past 2 years, so it'll be hopefully fun to maybe get on the field against them.
And another question here is for any of those Denver fans out there, what type of player are you getting out of Jasmine Aikey?
I hope that the fans will see a pretty creative player. I think that's one of the biggest facets of my game, and I'm really excited to really work hard on both sides of the ball and hopefully create a lot of attacking opportunities for the team.
In a couple, I don't know if you've had any team meetings at all with the team or any of the coaches or just like overall as a whole group here. But what is some of your goals this year, if you've had these conversations in team meetings? What are some of the goals that you're looking to accomplish here in Denver this upcoming season?
Yeah, I can't say that we've had team meetings yet. We start up this week, but I think I can probably speak for everyone that we want to do as well as we can and win the NWSL and win a championship. That's ambitious, but Denver's a sports city, and we're excited to be a part of that winning culture and, hopefully, continue it.
What is your ultimate goal here now that you're a professional? What is your ultimate goal, whether that is getting into the USA women's senior team or with Denver?
I honestly haven't thought about it, so I can't give you a good answer. But just personally, on a soccer level, improving my speed of play and improving a lot of different things. But that would be one that stands out to me as I go into this year.
And we noticed that our USA men's team isn't as dominant as the US women's team. What makes our country, the USA, so different in terms why are we the best when it comes to soccer?
I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but one that stands out to me is women's soccer is probably the most popular women's sport in the U.S. versus one on the boys' side. They've got the NBA, NFL, baseball. They're competing with a lot more sports for young boys' attention, so that's already just kind of hard. But I think that really we've now built a winning culture in the U.S. With women's soccer, and the collegiate pipeline is also a great pipeline. Now people are just going pro straight out of high school, but I think that those 4 years or how many years like really prepare people for the next level.
All right, now last question here. I said before we started the interview a music question. So today, myself, I just bought tickets to Bruno Mars here in Detroit. He'll be in Ford Field here at the beginning of May. So I've been listening to his music, and in this past year, I've been really enjoying concerts, live concerts. I think they're the best. So if you could go to any concert, or you could go to any concert to see a band or an artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh man, I should have like locked in before this. Um, Pre-game, I really like to listen to Sam Smith and get
Okay.
really calm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would be the concert though. I haven't been to many concerts. Honestly, probably Michael Jackson. I
Jackson.
love listening to his stuff growing up, and then can't go to one of his concerts, but I think that'd be amazing.
Are you looking forward to the movie that's coming out here this year?
Oh yeah, super excited. Yeah, really excited to watch it. But also, I have been loving country music for the past like 5 years. So there's actually Tyler Childers is coming to Boulder, so
Okay.
maybe I'll be able to go to that. So
I just went to Thomas Rhett this past year. Phenomenal concert. I don't know if you like Thomas Rhett.
I love Thomas Rhett.
What's your favorite song by him?
That's some good. I'm pretty sure it's "Marry Me." I don't want to.
That's a good one. Mine's
Yeah.
Boots. That's my favorite one. That's a really
I don't
catchy
think
one.
I heard that one. I need to. Yeah, I like "Marry Me." Oh, "Look What God Gave Her" is pretty good too.
It's a really
And "Die
good one.
Happy Man."
Those are
Yeah.
really good choices. And if you get a chance to see him live, see him live. Maybe your team could hook you up with a team, like a
I'll
team.
let them know.
You should mention that to your team. Like, let's do some team bonding. Let's go to a Thomas Rhett concert. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting. We're going to the Western Stock Show tomorrow as a team, so that'll
Okay.
be a pretty fun experience. I'm sure we'll hear some country music at the rodeo there. But yeah,
Well, thank you, Jasmine, for your time, and I wish you the best of luck this upcoming season. And congratulations on your Matt Kerman Trophy and a wonderful college career.
thank you so much, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
And we hope to see you lift us another U.S. World Cup for the women's side. We hope we get to see that and the NWSL trophy. I hope to get to see that.
Hopefully. Thank you so much.
All right, that's been Jasmine Aikey.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics.
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
We're back live here on the oh
Wow.
boy, back live on the National
some
Soccer
water.
Network inside the game. Water, coffee will do that to you. There we go. All right, that works. Episode 208, Nate Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, great conversation with you and Jasmine Aikey. I like the question about, did she accomplish everything she wanted to accomplish? And obviously it's hard to not win or accomplish nearly what she wanted to in terms of national championships, the way that she was mentioning that. But I do think it is worth noting that as a player like that, that's a foundation starter for Stanford. And so it's something that obviously they're only going to be able to build off of. The other thing is, for me personally, it would be Green Day. That's what Green Day, but not like Green Day now.
No,
What
you're not
what?
answering yet. You're not answering yet.
What?
Not
Oh,
answering yet.
no.
Not
Oh,
answering yet.
man. Did I just ruin part of the show? Oh,
Yeah.
man. Okay, you know what? I'll come up with something. I got 2 of them, all right?
Okay.
I got 2 of them, so we'll be all
Okay.
right. We'll be all right. I got 2 in that. It was like 1A, 1B. All right. So we'll go with 1B for now, which would be Green Day. And not Green Day now, but like Green Day, like early 2000s Green Day.
Okay.
Like back when they were like, raging against the machine type thing. So man, they were good in the day. Obviously they're older now. They're still touring. I think they came to Grand Rapids like
They're
a couple
touring
of
still, I
years
think.
ago, and I missed it, which
Oh,
pissed
well.
me off, but oh well. But Green Day, I'd kill to go see Green Day personally. But a lot of really good questions in there. Love the personality in the interview. Good work by you. It seemed like she was able to very much loosen up the shoulders a little bit towards the end of the interviews. So a lot of really good questions. But I'll leave this one to you before we move on to our next topic. What was your biggest takeaway from talking to Jasmine, and what were your impressions?
Oh, that she's just really focused on the game, really focused on the grind. I mean, you're homeschooled, and then immediately you go into Stanford, and you're there for 4 years, and you play right away. And even though you thought you weren't going to, and you struggled a little at the beginning, she's still dedicated. And then she's all of a sudden she graduates college, and then in a couple of weeks she ends up being on an NWSL team, and then obviously winning the Mac Herman Trophy. But I also thought there was a she understood that everything's not going to come her way right away. Like we look at college athletics, and sometimes it's ruining the athletes. Of wow, you could like TJ Finley, for example. That quarterback's on his 8th school in like 6 years. Like just
Yeah.
because it's getting tough a little bit, you might have to fight a little bit through. You might have to fight through a little bit of adversity. And granted, she did a little bit at the beginning, and then she got rewarded with it. She played, I think the stat was in her freshman year, I think she played out of the 20 some odd games, I think she played 15 games with 70 plus minutes. That's impressive at a freshman at that high of a level, especially with the Pac-12, because that was still the USC, the UCLAs of the world too, all in one conference. So that's another thing that I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point down the line of you've got to deal with a little bit of adversity. You have to go through a little bit of perseverance to ultimately get where you want, like Tom Brady talks about all the time. But that was another thing that I really liked about her, is because she was there for 4 years, and you don't really see that very often, unless you're getting paid billions of dollars right out the gate. But no, she was really impressed with how she handled herself too.
Well, and if you are looking for one reason as to why I think she's going to succeed at the next level, the professional level, it's exactly that, right? It's the persistence. It's the ability to fight through adversity and to see it through. And even despite the fact that Denver will be into their inaugural season, their first year, it might be tough sledding to start with. And I know that obviously as someone who's had as much success as she has, probably not used to losing all that much. That would probably be a new feeling to her. But as someone who is willing to stick it out for that many years, you don't go through a whole college experience like that, those many years within one program, without having some sort of conflict, whether it be with head coach, whether it be with assistant coach, whether it be with other teammates. The truth is like family members fight, you know what I mean? But only I am allowed to fight with my brother, or only I am allowed to fight with my sister. Everybody else, it's a problem, right? But if I'm a head coach, I like that, right? I like the passion. I like the energy. Now if it gets petty, or if it gets, anything else outside of that, then obviously we have to have a conversation. But I think her ability to see it through for all those years at a place like Stanford, it's really easy to just start shopping around, especially if you're as good as she was. So the fact that she had that persistence to fight it out the entire way through, I think is pretty cool. So one last congratulations to Jasmine Aikey. We're going to continue to have more interviews with people around the soccer space. We got a few that are kind of in the works right now. We'll keep you guys updated on all that. Again, make sure you find us, National Soccer Network, wherever you find your social media. Give our YouTube a follow, and then make sure you catch us, obviously, every day, 9 to 11 here on the National Soccer Network. We'll either do it one or two ways. We'll either do it live or we'll obviously do it pre-recorded. Do it live. We'll do it live. But wrapping up our soccer portion here on episode 208. Yesterday, Chris Richards got an honor, was named the U.S. Men's National Team Player of the Year. Is he the most talented player on the pitch? No, but did he make probably arguably the biggest impact on this team from a leadership perspective during this year when we desperately needed someone to step up, especially going into that Gold Cup? I think Chris Richards absolutely did, and especially after listening to the way he reacted after Australia and how chippy those guys were getting with Christian Pulisic, and now they're in our group in the World Cup. Right, so they did all that chippy stuff and all that BS trying to take out Pulisic and whatnot. And Chris Richards getting pissed off, and he says we need this group to start rallying around each other. And if teams want to get after it, we can get after it. Well, now they're going to face the Aussies in the World Cup. So what do you have in store for that team? Again, not the most talented player on the team, but if there's one player I feel like I could point to and be like, he's the emotional leader, I feel like Chris Richards has been exactly that for the U.S. men's national team. But before we get into all that, we got to talk a little bit about Pat Mac. Actually, we can talk about Chris Richards for a second. First of all, let me get your impressions on what you thought Richards did this year, because that was that's just the way that I saw it. And again, our biggest question early on in the podcast is who's going to lead this team from an emotional perspective? Because you're not going to get that out of someone like Christian Pulisic. It's just not his personality. And I understand it. And Zlatan tried to get it out of him. Everybody's tried to get it out of him and get him to realize, hey, you're Captain America. You have to be an emotional leader. You have to lead from the front, but that's just not the kind of person he is. But I thought Chris Richards, in terms of getting their swagger back, he did that. He did that a lot this year for the U.S. men's national team.
By the way, that kid got shortly kicked out of DLSL High School shortly after that video. Just putting it out there.
Oh boy! All right. Well, it's a viral clip. People
it is
enjoyed
viral
the clip. But anyways,
I just find it funny when I've gone to a couple DLSL games. They play it, and that kid got kicked out of school shortly after that video. And I'm like, well, I guess it's still viral for the team, but he got kicked out.
DLSL had their own issues. Yeah, they had their own problems.
Yeah, they did. Anyway,
yep.
I would say for Chris Richards, he's an emotional leader. He leads from the forefront. I think he's got a good partner in crime over at Crystal Palace, Mark Gay. He kind of showed him how to be a good leader, regardless, especially that center back role. But we also look at men's national team player of the year. Who was there in the Gold Cup? Not Pulisic, not McKennie, not Adams, not any of those guys. Chris Richards was there, regardless of him playing in overseas and for Crystal Palace and just winning the FA Cup. He could have absolutely just said, all right, I'm going to put my feet up for the summer. I did my job in the FA Cup. No one else is showing up. No, but Chris Richards showed up. He actually scored a goal in the Gold Cup final, a game that we should forget a little bit because it was a horrible game from the USA standpoint.
Good start.
Yeah.
Not the rest of the game.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say is I think he cares a lot. I think Chris Richards cares a ton about the men's national team compared to some. And another point, which I totally forgot what I was going to say, which was this one. There's no drama with Chris Richards. He just shows up, does his job.
Nope.
Says what he wants and what he needs to motivate the team. But that's it. We don't see Pulisic bitching. We don't see Tim Weah bitching. We don't see Weston McKennie bitching. Or we see those guys bitching, I should say. We don't see Chris Richards bitching about any of that stuff. We see Pulisic, we see McKennie, we see Weah do it all the time, especially this summer. And I think there's a reason why the media doesn't even go after Chris Richards is because he just does his job. And we're talking about U.S. men's national team player of the year. And I think he is a good example of it. And even when he helps with youth camps, he does a really good job. And I don't think Chris Richards wants to be in the spotlight per se. And I don't think he really cares for it. I think he just wants to go up there, do his job, win as many trophies as he can with Crystal Palace, and win as many trophies as he can with the men's national team. So it makes total sense. And for the people that are out there that are saying, well, why didn't Pulisic win it? Well, there's a sole reason why Pulisic didn't win it. It's because Chris Richards showed up. He didn't have a sidebar and some drama every single time. Chris
Yep.
Richards went out there, did his job, scored a goal in the Gold Cup final. Yeah, we didn't win. Yeah, we didn't have our full squad out there, but you know who showed up? Chris Richards showed up.
Yep.
He showed up when he didn't have to. He just had probably the best season in Crystal Palace history. He won an FA Cup. He won a trophy. And Pulisic didn't do shit. He didn't do anything all summer except bitch. So, yeah, Chris Richards is well-deserving of this.
Yep. And you know what's a dream to me if I'm Mauricio Pochettino? And it's two-sided. And you just mentioned it, right? Productivity and lack of drama. From a productivity perspective, and it's not just the U.S. men's national team. Look at what he's done at Crystal Palace. I mean, leading them to the success that they've had, really the first time that they've done so at the level that they've done so this year. Amazing. Just amazing in his position and one of the best in his position in that league. And so, you can argue that from a productivity perspective, he's been unbelievable. And you really have to look at the club resume too, because again, if you look at the U.S. men's national team resume, I mean, I think everybody is they were all down in the doldrums, and we can only read so far into international friendlies. They haven't really played a meaningful game since that game against Mexico. Again, it can sit like that. The implications are there because they're already hosting the World Cup, right? So it was never really an intention of, hey, we're trying to beat the tar out of this team or that team. It was more like, hey, Poach is trying to figure out, who we have. But when you look at his club productivity, I think number one, but number two, and I think the bigger thing, like you're saying, like I love my guys that just show up and do their work. I mean, drawing a football example, Kurt Signetti talked about that. I just want guys who show up and do their work. I don't care how it looks. I don't care when you do it. I don't care how long it takes you to do it. You show up, you do it, and you do it to its completion, and then you leave. And Chris Richards has embodied all of that for the U.S. men's national team this year. So I agree. No, I think he's 100% deserving of this. And again, if we're asking this question, if we're still asking this question of who's going to lead this team from the front, like who's going to be the emotional leader on the squad, I think we just anointed Chris Richards exactly that. And I think that's what this award is showing. Got 50% of the vote. I forget who he was running up against. There were two other. I believe Alex Freeland was in there, and I forget who the other nominee for U.S. men's national team player of the year was. But I believe Richards got 48.9% of the vote or something along those lines. But, I mean, damn near half of the people that were voting
Tillman
on
and
this.
Alex Freeman were the other two.
Freeman, not Freeland. Whoops, getting my names wrong over here. But Freeman and Malik Tillman. Malik Tillman would have been a good choice too. I really like what he did between him and Chris Richards combined. But let's talk a little bit about
conversation. I wonder why.
Who's not in the Pulisic?
Yeah, Pulisic wasn't even in the convo.
Oh yeah. Why. Yeah, I mean, not him or McKinney or any of those guys.
I wonder why.
Yeah, understandably so. From a U.S. men's national team perspective, 100%. But the host that let Chris Richards know, the man who actually broke the news to Chris Richards, he didn't even know about it going into this interview, was Pat McAfee. Now, I just got off my soapbox yesterday talking about how Pat Mac has been the greatest thing to happen to sports media, and a lot of that for his personality. But there are some things that always remind us that he is not a soccer connoisseur. He does not generally follow the sport. He is a football guy through and through, American football, that is. And so we got a couple of clips from that show yesterday of what he was saying on that show. To play on air, or will this be on social media?
We can't play it on
social media. You can't play it on air. What were some of the things? Give us some quotes that McAfee said yesterday.
So this is just like the whole show in general. We'll get to McAfee specific here a little bit. CONCACAF. You want to take a guess at what they said about CONCACAF? How they pronounce CONCACAF?
Ooh, CONCACAF.
CONCACAF. That's
sounds close to KFC.
Yes.
CONCACAF. Oh man.
And then
I'm gonna go get a double from CONCACAF.
Someone said that the Portland Timbers are trying to make an offer to Crystal Palace for Chris Richards. I don't think that's ever been rumored. I think they're just saying that.
It might be. That might be.
I've never no one. No. Seattle's trying to buy him, not Portland. Seattle's trying to buy him. They're trying to give him a lucrative offer. I can't say I've heard that rumor. Can't say
nope.
I don't think he would want to even do that.
No, that's so bad. I don't even know if we're gonna run with that one. That would be a tough look for us. The National Soccer Network.
I mean, I mean, I've said some stupid stuff on our social media pages, but
Yes.
that's not one of them. That's definitely not Pulisic. How do you think they pronounce Pulisic?
Pulisic?
You're pretty. Yeah, that's pretty spot on. It's Pulisic. Pulisic.
Pulisic? Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
But now, all right, let's get
Just
into
to draw. It's just an accent, man. That's all that was. They knew it. They could read. Hopefully. I think.
All right, so let's get into the Pat McAfee things. Chris
Okay.
Richards.
All right.
Chris Richards apparently plays middle back. Pat, I don't think I've ever heard of a middle back position in soccer. I've heard center back. I've heard center defender. I've never heard middle back before. Maybe Pat just making up positions on his own. I've never heard that.
Hey,
Also, Chris Richards does not play midfield, Pat. Pat said, well, he plays along in that middle back. He can also play midfield if we need him. Chris doesn't play midfield, Pat. He doesn't. I'm sure he could. I'm sure he could play as a number 6 at a CDM, but no, he doesn't play midfield, Pat. He's trying to make him versatile. I don't know what he's trying to say, but no, I've never heard the middle back position.
Didn't you say you thought Balogun was a team?
Hold on. You're jumping the gun on everything.
Oh, sorry.
Today.
All right.
You're
Jeez.
jumping the gun. I just want to hear. I want to pause. I'm hoping you get. I want to hear
All
what
right,
you got to
sorry.
say. I'm not. You're jumping the gun. That's twice now.
I'm just ruining the show for Ryan over here. He's got stuff lined up. Man, we got to talk a little bit longer in the mornings, apparently, before we go live on this thing. Yeah, clearly just make it up. I'm trying to think of what a nice a reverse would be for what Pat McAfee did in the NFL as a kicker. Like, what would they, what do you think someone who doesn't understand football would call Pat McAfee? The footy guy? I don't know. I mean, what do you call
instead of a kicker?
instead of a kicker, you know? And he's saying like he plays middle back, but clearly that's not true. He's just making stuff up on the fly. What would you call an NFL kicker that isn't a kicker? I'm trying to think of what the reverse of that would be.
Game starter.
The game starter? All right, there you go.
The drive starter.
You've been a great game starter your entire career. What the hell is a game starter? When you talking
Well, he starts
about?
off the game. He starts off.
He
the drive.
does. I mean, yeah, technically, and technically Chris Richards at some point throughout the course of the game is in the middle of the field. Therefore, he's a middle back. Duh, Ryan. I mean, come on. It's simple, dude. That's how this works.
Since Date has already alluded to it, Balogun. Someone was explaining who Balogun was. So the question was how much is Chris Richards one of the highest paid players in England? And also, I love the way they say Tim Howard. But
That's definitely an accent thing.
But the guy goes, I don't know all the names besides AJ Hawk and Pat McAfee, which AJ Hawk looked so clueless during this whole thing. He just was like,
just
anyway.
a blank stare at the camera.
Anyway, so the guy's David. Fullerin, Balogun with AS Monaco, Pulisic with Balat, and McAfee goes, what did you just say? You named 2 teams there? Balogun a team? Balogun? Oh, Balogun. Balogun's a team? No, Balogun's our number 9. Balogun? Yes. Balogun is our starting number 9. And he didn't understand that he was actually French. Like, Balogun was, I don't even think French. Balogun's actually from England. I'm pretty sure, because that's who we were battling for who he played for. Balogun, I'm pretty sure, is actually English and not French. But what he said is since he was in the French league, he just ultimately thought he was French.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, if you were to tell me if I
He's from New York. Balogun's from America.
Oh, he was born in New York.
Oh, he moved to London. Okay.
Yeah. Yep, he was born in New York. I think at like 3 years old his family moved to London. But yeah, hey man, I remember back in middle school, the teachers they would try to teach us how to think critically. Like that was the big thing when we were young, and they would go, pretend I'm an alien. teach me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I think sometimes Pat McAfee is kind of like that alien when it comes to the game of soccer. He hears things and he's like, yeah, and it's just off the cuff, and it's like, no, dude, like you're not even in the ballpark. But I mean, if you were to tell me Balogun FC was a team, I mean, I would kind of believe you. Heck yeah,
There's
Balogun
definitely
FC,
an avenue
yeah,
for it.
absolutely, or Balugun. What the hell they call him?
Balagoon.
Balagoon FC. Yeah, absolutely. They sound like a good club.
I will give Pat props on one thing. He did call the French League a farmers league. I will give him that. He did say that. So he was right. He was like, yeah, didn't Messi and Mbappe just stay there for like 20 minutes and get up and leave? And I was like, yeah, he's kind of right at that aspect. So he does know some stuff. Apparently Pochettino is so we call him everyone calls him Poch, right? Because it's Pochettino. Apparently McAfee just called him Ponch. So it's apparently Mauricio Pochettino.
He does that all the time. Yeah,
Ponch.
I've listened to multiple interviews. Ponch. Also, isn't it Poch?
Yeah, Poch.
There was
Poch.
Pochettino.
What did I say? Poch?
Pochettino, right? Yeah, you said Poch.
Oh, that's because that yeah, you're right.
Who's on first? What's on second? Is it Poch or Poach?
You got me confused with I was getting confused there with Ponch. So I said Ponch.
Oh,
Poach. My bad.
Poncho. No, you're good. No, I've heard multiple interviews of he does that. I can't tell what things he's doing on purpose and what things he's doing accidentally. With McAfee, I feel like that line is just blurred sometimes. Sometimes it feels like he's like intentionally saying these things because he's like, I'm just a goofball and this is how I do it. And then other times it's like he like genuinely means what he's saying. So I can't tell, but no, he's been doing that for a while now.
Yeah, but that's all the mispronunciations that there was. But Pat McAfee also was like, this guy Chris Richards, he's got to be a Columbus Crew, Portland Timbers. Got to be on a team like this in the MLS. But no, I mean, I like McAfee. I mean, I understand he doesn't know soccer. Like, I don't know all the ins and outs of football that he does. I don't know all the ins and outs of all the sports that the whole show knows. But no, when it comes to soccer, McAfee just when it comes to soccer, just relax a little bit on it. Don't talk about it a ton.
Yeah.
I understand you have the confidence and all that stuff. It was a good interview with Chris Richards on what he was talking about, and he did stuff. Also, I don't know if you saw the Chris Richards actually sent a voice memo to the Instagram account of the U.S. men's national team asking, hey, can I get a brief rundown of what they're going to ask
Oh,
me here?
yeah,
And they
I
didn't
did.
respond to
Yep.
him. But no, McAfee does a really good job, and I think he does a really good job for growing sports, especially here in America. And he's really an entertaining person, really entertaining show. But when it comes to soccer, Pat, just step aside a little bit. Don't say everything that comes to your head. Don't say everything.
Yeah. It's hard, man. Honestly, it's hard as someone who's in his position. And I look at Stephen A. like the same exact way, right? Like they put
He ain't
Stephen
know
A.
half the
Smith.
shit he's saying.
They put Stephen A. Smith on mixed martial arts. I remember this.
Oh,
And this was
boy.
like during the era of me like actually kind of watching MMA because they had the best characters in the world. I mean, between the Diaz brothers and Masvidal and all these guys, Conor McGregor, obviously the one that kind of brought MMA to the forefront. But they just had a list of personalities 3 miles wide. And obviously with that, someone like Stephen A. who brings in the ratings, they're gonna put him on that broadcast crew, and they did. And almost immediately, Joe Rogan and the rest of those guys are like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you might have watched boxing growing up, but I assure you, you do not know a damn thing about mixed martial arts. But you're over here talking like you do, obviously, because you're Stephen A. Like, you talk the way that you talk. But that's just the way it is, right? If you bring in the ratings, if you're popular, they're going to put you on everything. Same thing with McAfee. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're going to have you be the guy to break the news to Chris Richards. But, like, Pat Mac can't just sit back and just be, like, a normal, like, interviewer just going from question to question. That's just not who he is, especially when he's surrounded by all the guys that he's surrounded by. That's just not how he operates. So, but I love his willingness to fail forward and to just fail time and time again. But
it's another
it's
respectable thing because not a lot of people want to fail, especially on his platform. I guess like his following that he has on his level, on his platform. Not a lot of people are willing to do that, and that's why I think he's such a respectable, likable person in not only the sports media world. I mean, I bet you could probably ask people who don't even watch sports, they'd probably know who Pat McAfee is. just because he's all over the place. He's a nice guy. I mean, some people probably tune into game day or just watch or follow them just so they could see the kick, his kick for charity. Like I bet you that's what people do, and that's what my mom does. But like that's what people do is for that kick. But no, sometimes some of these big sports people, they try to get put in situations like. Do we really have to listen to Stephen A. Smith talk about baseball? No, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Sometimes we see these big media people, sports people, they get put in situations that I don't know if they volunteer themselves to do or the network just says it so they could get a better viewing, but they don't necessarily know what they're talking about. Stephen A. Smith does really well when it comes to the game of basketball. Football, he's not so bad, but basketball and football are his go-to. He should probably stay that way. But when it comes to like baseball, hockey, MMA, soccer, I'm sure sometimes you just got to take a back seat to it.
You don't necessarily have to know what you're talking about as long as you come with a certain level of confidence and you stand behind what you say. Trust me, networks are going to love you. And as much as you hate them, you continue to watch them. So I'm sure that's why they put them on a lot of different things. But no, you're right. I mean, shout out Pat Mac, shout out the boys. Very cool to see Chris Richards win that award. No, Balogun is not a team. That is actually our lead striker for the USMNT.
They also called him an elite goal scorer, and I was like, he ain't elite, I'll tell you that.
Maybe on our standards, but not
sure.
Not necessarily elite. But coming up next, hour number 2 here on Inside the Game, we got a lot of fun topics coming up. We're just going to have some fun with this one. The worst matchup of all time in each major professional sport. Who would you want to play the least? Doesn't matter year, team, regardless. We're going to name each of our major sports and who the nightmare scenario is for us if we were in that league or playing. Also, Harbaugh to the Giants. John Harbaugh just recently signing a contract with New York, and the NBA trade deadline coming up. All that and more up next here on the National Soccer Network.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back. Episode 208 on Inside the Game. I was going to see how long we could go with that stare down. Sorry, I lost. I started talking. We should do that to open up a show one of these days. Just look lovingly into each other's eyes, see how long we could go. Yeah, I mean, if you want, it's cool with me. But let's dive into our next topic here on Inside the Game. We're just having some fun here today. Not a slow day, particularly in terms of sports news, but just nothing really all that dramatic happening a day ago. So I wanted to open up with this one. We get random inspiration on these shows sometimes, and you find your creativity in random places. It could be in the shower. It could be, taking your morning doo-doo. It could be on your walk in the evening. It could be anywhere, right? And I found mine in the shower yesterday. And I wanted to talk about this yesterday. Yep. As I was washing my, my cul-de-sac that I got going on
Wow.
up top. But I was thinking about this yesterday. The nightmare matchup. Each professional sport, we can go one by one. The team in the year that you would hate, the team you would hate to play the most, depending on, again, what year and what time.
Is pro
each
sports or
professional
can
sport.
college be included?
College can be, we can include college if we want, but we can go major U.S. sports. We can also do a soccer one as well, and we could probably, I don't know if you have one for that.
Okay.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I
all
got
right.
that one in mind.
I don't know if I have one for that, but I'll definitely let you get in on that. But let's start off with, you want to start off with college football?
College football? Yeah, we can do that one.
You want to do that one? Okay.
It's
I will let you lead the way on this. Go ahead.
It's quite simple. 2001 Miami. I mean, 17 first-round draft picks. Yeah, let me say that again. 17 first-round draft picks, and the fact that you had Hall of Famers as third stringers and strictly on special teams is crazy. I also saw this stat too yesterday. If the Miami offense did not score a single touchdown the whole year, and it was just up to the defense to score points, they would have finished 8-4. Like, most college programs would kill for an 8-4 season, and their defense would have gotten them an 8-4 record alone. Like, you think of the studs all over that team. Ed Reed, you had a Reggie Wayne in there, Edgerrin James. I don't think Ray Lewis, I think that was after Ray Lewis. But there's just so many studs. Sean Taylor was on. I think Sean Taylor was like a third stringer. I think Sean Taylor was a strictly special teams guy. Willis McGahee was a strictly a special teams guy. Vilma was on that squad. Like, that team was so good. And and another thing that's also like never talked about is before that Miami was like, obviously before Miami was this dirty team showed in your face, which they still kind of were in 01, but they actually did it the right way in 2001. No cheating, no buying players or anything like that. I think Santana Moss also was on that team too. So there are just so many studs on that 2001 Miami team. That's the best.
I know we agreed about disagreed about the Tigers yesterday, and we're going to disagree about things on this show as we continue to go. That's just how sports, especially sports debates and shows. I don't know about sunshine and rainbows over here, but anyways, this is going to sound controversial, and if so, so be it, and I will give you that. I think 2019 LSU is the greatest college football team in the history of the sport. And I understand everything that you said about Miami. Here's the thing. The age gap between you and me, no, okay, come on now. But I would not have expected, if you were to ask somebody who's going to be the one to select 2019 LSU and who's going to be the one to select early 2000s Miami, they probably wouldn't have thought you'd be the one to select Miami, but you know ball. And so I will respect that. But 2019 LSU, averaged 570 yards per game. Joe Burrow nearly had a 200 pass efficiency rating. 48.4 points per game.
Ever had.
I in my lifetime, I have never seen a team like 2019 LSU. And I remember after Michigan won their title thinking that they would have a chance. No, that team would not have had a chance. Indiana would have not have had a chance from this year. There's no team in my lifetime. Well, now, mind you, Miami was in my lifetime, but I was very young, right? I didn't remember them that much. But once I became consciously aware, I have never seen another college football team that would even come close to beating that LSU team. So I think that was one of the single greatest college football seasons. And to pile on top of this, Miami had also some Hall of Fame head coaches. Ed Orgeron was not really a good head coach. Ed Orgeron, in my mind, is the equivalent
of Miami guy.
I'm just saying, but Ed Orgeron was not great, and yet they were able to.
He coached at Miami when he was young. Ed Orgeron. Did.
I'm sure, but as a head coach at LSU, I'm just talking about this LSU. He was awful. He was terrible, right? I mean that.
I'll say Joe Burrow has the best year a quarterback ever had in college football. That is by far the best year.
Yeah,
but when you compare both of them, sure, I'll give you the quarterback. And I mean, Andre Johnson still a hell of a wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
Reggie Wade's still a hell of a wide receiver.
Think about the style of play though. I mean, how much that changed. I realize the defense, like if they could get to Joe Burrow, obviously, then that changes everything. But the style of play is a lot different. Obviously, teams a little bit more willing to air it out. That LSU team, again, that's just the most lethal passing offense I've ever seen. So I'm going to go with 2019 LSU for my selection on a nightmare matchup.
They had for perspective, Vince Wilfork was a backup for the Miami Hurricanes. Vince Wilfork. Like, what a dog. LSU, you didn't name some of the defense. Patrick Queen, Grant Delpit, Derek Stingley. Those are some good players. But I just think there's more stars on 2001, which is crazy to say because 2019 LSU had some stars as well. So it'd be a good game. I'd love to. I'm sure you could do that in like college football 26, right?
I'm sure. Did they allow you to play with old school teams in 26? I still got 25.
I haven't tried. I think they could. I think you could. I feel like you have to.
All right. Yeah, no, I made the mistake of getting the Xbox Series X, which does not have the disc drive to it. So the only games that I can get are online, and they're like, yeah, pay $75 for NBA 2K. I'm like, no, how about I get like a slightly older model that's like $20? And they're like, nope, sorry, that's not available. Anyways, moving on. How about the National Football League? Nightmare matchup in year.
I think because it's not. I wouldn't say any of the Brady teams. I would not. I don't think they're that.
Really?
No, because I'm still thinking of like the '85 Bears and how well that defense was. Like I'm talking scary. That defense was something. Mike Singletary out the middle. Oh, you still have Walter Payton on the. See, I don't even want to give the Bears love though. At the same time, I think you would still. I think you still have to go. I think you have to go the '85 Bears. I think you do because I'm talking scary, and I'm talking that defense. Like I'm sure you could throw in like the Kansas City Chiefs teams with Patrick Mahomes as well, but to be honest, like the Patriots weren't. To me, the Patriots weren't scary. Like it just felt like they were gonna somehow get a call that benefited them some way. Like it was always coming, but like I'm talking scary. I'd go '85 Bears.
This is going way back, and I mean, even for me, like it's weird saying this simply because I never saw the guys play. Like it's the thing about like when we want to debate MJ and LeBron, and you're right. I mean, even with what you said, you didn't see them play, but it's the same thing with it's different. You get a different understanding as to how dominant a team is when you get to watch them play. That's why initially when I was going over this conversation, I'm like, okay, well, like early 2000s Patriots when they went back to back in 04 and 05. It like they had some really, really damn good defenses. Like Bill Belichick is a brilliant defensive mind, and those early teams, I mean, if Brady didn't have the greatest defense available to him, he probably would not have won as many Super Bowls as he did. So I think the early 2000s Pats teams were nightmares, but I'm going to go way back. I'm going to go way, way back. Did you have something to say before I get to my team? You look like you were winding up to say something there.
2001 Baltimore. Forgot about them. That defense.
Oh, yeah.
That defense, I think that defense allowed like 2 touchdowns that whole playoff run.
Yeah.
So I switched mine. 2001 Baltimore. That's my team.
Yeah.
Something about 2001 in football, man. Something about them.
It was a different game, man. The NFL was just different back then. The defenses struck fear into people's. Yes, quarterbacks were not protected the way that they are now. I think the NFL just got to a certain point to where they're like, hey, we're making way too much damn money on these guys being healthy and available to play. We cannot have them getting hurt. So now you tap someone on the back and it's over. I find it so funny when guys like Tom Brady speak up about that too. Like, dude, come on. You were protected as well. Like, get out of here. Like, no way. Like, guys had respect for you.
That's now. Mahomes in 10 years. Yeah, you got to it's just so soft. Shut up. We know you're protected.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. But I'm going way back here. 1978. I'm going to go Pittsburgh Steelers. That 70s dynasty with Pittsburgh. What they call it, the Steel Curtain. Yeah, I mean, they were, 2 Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw obviously was. Now he's starting to lose it a little bit, but Terry Bradshaw was the guy back in the day, and they were just 10 Hall of Famers, I believe, on that team. Let me double check it. Yep, 10 Hall of Famers on that team. Just a list of names, including Mean Joe Green, obviously, who's known for that Coca-Cola commercial. Thanks, Mean Joe Green. Once upon a time. So Coca-Cola's had some of the best ads ever. But the collection of players on that team, 10 Hall of Famers, just mean the way that they played the game. And obviously the game has changed a lot since. A lot of the players from that team obviously dealing with concussions, and that kind of led to the whole renaissance with keeping an eye on concussions and whatnot. But those 70s dynasties for the Pittsburgh Steelers, not gonna happen. This one might be a little bit tricky for me since we want to do college. I was more thinking the NBA. We can get to after that. But
NBA.
what is your nightmare college basketball matchup?
So I would say either that Villanova team that beat Michigan. I just thought they had size all over the place. Or you go
Dante DiVincenzo. That I hate that ginger. Anyways, go ahead.
Are you even allowed to hate a ginger? Like, that's a fellow ginger. Like,
He's the only one that I don't like out of all of them is
okay.
Dante DiVincenzo. Whatever. That dude torched us.
I would go. I think I still would end up doing. I think I would go. No, I'd still go Villanova. I'd still go that 2018 Villanova. I was thinking 09 UNC with Tyler Hansbrough, Ty Lawson, Danny Green. That was a very good team as well. Tyler Zeller, Cody Zeller's brother, was on that team as well. A really good team. But I still think I'm rocking with that 2018 Villanova team. Like, that team was just, again, 6 NBA guys. And I think they blew out every team in the tournament. I think it was 15+ every single time. Brunson was on that team. Mikal Bridges, who's on the Knicks. Eric Pascal, who I thought was going to be really good in the NBA, didn't end up becoming really good. Amari Spellman. I don't think Josh Hart was on that team, but no, that team was very good.
You know, if they would have gone on to win a national championship, I would have said that one year that Duke lost to Michigan State. Remember that one in Zion's year? That was the only, if I can say that there was confidently that there was the only night that I've ever cheered for Michigan State to win a game was that night. Because they had Xavier Tillman on the team, Grand Rapids kid. And obviously with it being Duke and all their everything about that team that year and just how much ESPN did their what on Duke all year long because they wanted to talk about Zion and RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish was on that team too. I mean, they just wanted to, every single day it was something about the Duke Blue Devils. So there's a small part of me that was like, I wouldn't mind seeing the Spartans pull this out. And obviously they did.
Can't say I've ever rooted for MSU in anything. Can't say I have because I had to hear it in school the next day. Texas was so good. Yeah, then they sucked and choked against Texas Tech.
Well, that's fine. I was okay with them choking in that game. That no problem. I got no issues with Texas Tech.
I didn't like the week leading up to it. This Izzo is so good. He's Hall of Fame, so good. He's better than Coach K. Shut up. He's won 3 games against Coach K in like 20 tries.
You admit that he's a Hall of Famer, though, right?
He's a Hall of
Famer, one of the best
but
ever
he's not in the conversation of Coach K and Roy Williams. Those are a different tier.
Yeah, where do you think he falls on the list? Not to distract from our conversation.
Elite.
But where do you think Izzo falls?
There's elite, and then Izzo's under elite. He's like good because I can't say he's elite when I haven't seen his last national championship, and his last national championship was a quarter century ago. I can't say he's elite.
Clip that.
Clip
that. Somebody clip that. And
share
that,
everyone's
going
to say the Final Fours. Yeah, that's great and all. Like, programs would kill to get to the Final Four. But at some point, you got to win one. You got to win another one. And they would have made it to the national championship game a couple years ago if they didn't lose to a point guard smaller than me on one ankle in Kansas State. And Powell was his name. I forgot the first name. But no, he's good, not elite. There's a difference.
8 Final Four appearances, 11 regular season Big Ten titles. Obviously won a national championship in 2000. I get that, but
his record against the Blue Bloods sucked too. So how could I even put him? How could I even put him in that conversation when he's like 3-30? When he's like 5-40 against UNC, Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky? Like, I can't do that. You got to beat him.
he was He was going up against a group of one and dones. I mean, he's never really been a one and done type coach, and maybe that's been. But Ryan Glitzky, you're getting spicy today on the show. I would put that one up on. Let's put that one up on social. Let's see how people respond to that one. Clip that.
They're gonna be pissed because MSU fan base is really easy to piss off.
Let's move on to the National Basketball Association Nightmare Team and Year.
2017 Warriors.
Okay, you have an old soul. No, you don't. And I actually agree with you on this one. There's no team. There's no team I would lead. I mean, you have KD, you have Steph, you have Clay, you have Draymond when he was actually like being productive and not just fighting people every night. That team was just absolutely dangerous.
Can I also say
what's that?
The year before they went 73-9 and lost in Game 7, and then they added KD,
yes, and then they added Kevin Durant in the offseason.
And I
think,
how many games did they lose during that playoff run? Because there weren't many. Because it was insane.
Well, you're talking 2016. That was the comeback.
No, 2017
when Bron came.
2017.
Oh, okay.
They went 16-1 in the playoffs. That playoff run, 16-1. What was their record that year?
They literally, and if you're wondering why I think LeBron James is the greatest player of all
67
time,
and 15.
Here's why. The Golden State Warriors had to assemble the Avengers to beat one man.
Well, they already
one
beat
man.
Him.
In 16, they didn't.
They beat him in 15.
I get it, but in 16, they were up 3-1. They were that close to winning back-to-backs, and LeBron James almost single-handedly led that comeback to beat the Golden State Warriors. Kyrie was there. I get it. Kyrie actually probably made the biggest bucket in Game 7 to help them win that championship. But for the most part, they put the Avengers together really to beat one guy, and that was LeBron. And
And by the way, that block is
what do you mean, nah?
That block is so overrated, too.
That's, dude, outside of
that game was
Tayshaun
tied
Prince,
for like
that's
another
the greatest.
3 minutes. Nobody scored. Even if it was a layup, it's still a 2-point game.
But I get it. But every bucket matters in a game like that. It's still the outside of Tayshaun Prince. That's the best chase down block I've ever seen, personally. I'm gonna say 2017 Warriors. We got a comment in the chat right now?
No. We just have some more point shaving going on. 20 men have been charged in point shaving scheme involving more than 39 college basketball games, or more than 39 college basketball players on more than 17 NCAA Division I games, leading to more than 29 games being fixed. This comes during the 2023-24 and the 24-25 season. Two of the players named, oh boy, that name looks straight out of a Key and Peele skit. Both of these are. Said Quavius Hunter and Diquavion Short. I don't know, but more point shaving going on in college basketball.
Oh my God, where is this out of? What's the publication? Who said it?
ESPN.
Wow. This is just breaking now. You just saw this just a moment ago.
23 minutes ago.
Wow.
I don't even know who these players are.
And we obviously we just saw the video of what I was watching handful of weeks ago. Player that was caught trying to essentially sell at the end of the game, and he was found out to have been betting on games. Wow, that's wild.
So one of them played at Cal State Bakersfield, and one played at University of New Orleans. There's probably a reason why they were shaving points back then. They definitely weren't getting any NIL money. That's for damn straight.
Wow.
But yeah, there's that.
Absolutely wild.
Who's next?
All right. Well, clearly that's coming up tomorrow at Inside the Game. So we're going to talk a little point shaving here on ITG. So what do we got? We got college football, the NFL. We had college basketball.
We need MLB and NHL.
National Basketball Association. All right. Major League Baseball. Go ahead. Who do you think is your nightmare matchup?
I don't really know anything about baseball.
2016 Chicago Cubs. They were the team of destiny. You can't beat them. It was going to happen regardless.
I feel like the Dodgers teams have been really good these last couple of years. I mean, Shohei, Freddie Freeman, the Hernandez. Like, there's so many just studs. All Mookie Betts. Forgot about him. Like, there's just studs all over the place. Like, I just feel like there's too many Hall of Famers and too many stars all over the place. I'm sure you'll probably give me like a way more in-depth answer on a team, but I would go with the recent Dodgers.
I would say with the late 90s New York Yankees, probably like the 98
you
Yankees. I mean, I'm just saying, like they had the best pitching. You got Mariano Rivera's the greatest closer in the history of the game. They were the Bronx Bombers. Everything about that New York team was, I mean, obviously the Yankees have a long storied history. Not recently, not really in the modern era nearly as much. They seem to pay all the money and get zero of the results. They can't field a pitching staff that's worth a damn sometimes. I know they got to the World Series, obviously fell short of the World Series. They were right there. But, I'm going to probably late 90s Yankee teams. But, no, you're right. You're absolutely right, Ryan. Any of these recent iterations of the Dodgers, including this past year, no, you're right. You're right, because they just get the best players available. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter where they're from. They want to go to LA. They want to win a World Series. It's almost like if you want to win a World Series in your career, you're just like, let me go to LA for however many years it takes. Let me go win my series, and then you can go anywhere else. And their international scouting, or New York, well,
they haven't won in a while, but they have the money to do
a long time. They do. But, I mean, the rich get richer, and I don't think there is any organization in professional sports in America that embodies that more. Maybe outside of the LA Lakers as the other LA team and the Dodgers. I mean, they just get the best available, and their international scouting is unbelievable. Like, they've tapped into that Japan market, and it is speaking volumes. It's crazy.
Real.
The pitching is nuts, and
the Tigers got the worst one. God. God, we got the worst one.
Well, Kenta was good for a while, but he flamed out once he got to us. But no, the Dodgers, they're the Avengers, dude. Yeah, they're the Imperial. They're the evil empire. That is the nickname that they gave to the New York Yankees because of the long history that they had in baseball. They were called the Evil Empire. They ain't the Evil Empire anymore. The LA Dodgers are the Evil Empire. That is the team that everybody wants to be like. Every organization is forming their organization around. They're hiring Dodgers people left and right because they want to be like the Dodgers, but you can't be the Dodgers if you ain't the Dodgers. And they continue to prove that year after year. So any of the recent LA teams or late 90s New York Yankees, I'll probably go that direction. What do we have left? Well, we did
NHL.
Baseball and NHL. Do you have an NHL team? You don't really.
I just feel like the
college baseball, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt. Any Vanderbilt team, the Kumar Rocker days. I don't want to play those guys. The team that beat Michigan in the College World Series. Yeah,
I agree.
Those dudes, I would not want to play any iteration of Vanderbilt ever. Don't give me Vanderbilt. Yeah.
I would go.
Anyways, go ahead.
Before my soccer one, I would say I feel like I feel like the Red Wings teams, whether that was 02, I know there's a lot of Hall of Famers in that one. But more specifically, probably 97 with the Russian Five. Like from what I've heard from people, whenever those five were out on the ice at the same time, like you just couldn't get the puck from them. Like they just played keep away the whole time, and you just couldn't get the puck from them. And then you still have guys like Steve Yzerman out there that aren't even Russian. You have Hall of Famers all over the place. So I would go either the 02 Red Wings or the 97 Red Wings.
Well, and think of how many great goaltenders they've had throughout those years too, right? You go from Vernon,
John Gibson.
Then you have Hasek. You have, obviously Osgood was really good. Like they've had a long history
Jimmy
of
Howard.
really good goaltenders. Jimmy Howard. But yeah, loved him because he played in Grand Rapids for a while too. So those early 2000s Wings teams were something else.
Nate, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. You like any athlete that played or is from Grand Rapids? I'm just gonna go out on a limb. Do you like those players?
I like my Michigan folks. Yeah, absolutely.
During this thing, they're like, well, Xavier Tillman from Grand Rapids. Oh, he played in Grand Rapids. He's from Grand Rapids. So I was like,
oh yeah.
Do you like Grand Rapids players or
a little
people
bit
that have played there?
You want to know who the greatest is from Grand Rapids though?
Who?
I'll give you one guess. Greatest athlete, in my opinion, from the city of Grand Rapids.
I don't know.
Floyd Mayweather. Do you know he was from GR?
Floyd Mayweather's from Grand Rapids?
Born in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yep. He went to Ottawa Hills High School, I believe, is the high school that he went to.
Dude, how am I just realizing this?
Yep.
I did
Floyd
not
money.
know that.
Yep. So I don't know when his family moved, but obviously he came up and it's called Gold's Boxing Gym here in Grand Rapids, and obviously they have Golden Gloves every year, which it's sad no one goes to it anymore because boxing in a lot of ways is just kind of dead now. But yeah, he trained went to Ottawa Hills, trained here in Grand Rapids. I don't know when his family moved, but they moved eventually, and yeah, I mean they I think there was one of his fights they said he was from Vegas, and he got so pissed that he was like, I'm not from Vegas, I'm from Grand Rapids, you need to change that. So
Nice.
yeah, he's Floyd Mayweather, who I regard as the greatest boxer of all time, is from Grand Rapids. So yeah. Anyways, fun fact. We're full of fun facts today. But yeah, I'll go with that those Wings teams. And the stories of them like essentially kidnapping the players that they needed in order to make those Stanley Cup runs is just amazing. Because obviously the Soviet Union was like, no, you're not leaving. You're not allowed to leave. You know, that's the whole story of the Red Army. Like these dudes were essentially soldiers, but all they were doing was playing hockey, you know? So, I mean, you go back to the Miracle on Ice. It's the reason why that upset was as amazing as it was, because they were the Red Army. So crazy. And obviously the Red Wings were willing to go to the extent of espionage in order to win a Stanley Cup, which is just, I wonder if the government had anything to say about this or if they even knew, but clearly they got the most out of them. So NHL, do we have any more matchups or any more sports before we head to break? Do you have a soccer one? You want to drop a soccer one?
Soccer, 08, 09, Barcelona. Treble winning side, Pep Guardiola. Do I have to say more? Messi, David Villa. The best midfield three of all time, Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta. You think of the back line, Puyol, PK. I don't know. I think Danny Alves had to have been there. Victor Valdez was probably there too. But you talk about a team that just didn't give the ball away and won the Champions League, Super Cup, and then La Liga by 11 points over a really good Real Madrid side. I'm going with them. That team was so good. Just don't give the ball away. Pass it, keep it. Pass it, keep it. Oh, Abidal was on that team. I forgot about him. Forgot about Abidal. He was on that team too.
I'm going to go with the 2026 U.S. men's national team. And with that, let's take a break. Woo! Let's step aside here for a quick second on Inside the Game. We'll be right back here on episode 208. We're going to talk a little bit about John Harbaugh, also the NBA trade deadline, and that question of the day that I ruined a little bit earlier. But all that and more coming up next here on episode 208.
The Flint City Bucks are Michigan's top soccer franchise with 4 national championships, 9 conference titles, and 15 Great Lakes Division titles. They have produced 107 players for Major League Soccer, and they focus on attracting top talent and shaping soccer's future. Michigan Bucks Academy joins NLS Next new competition tier starting in September of 2025. This offers elevated levels of play and flexibility for high school participation. The Academy will provide premier development, high-performance training, and exposure to scouts through regional tournaments and MLS Next events. For more information on tryouts, training programs, and key updates as we prepare for our first season in MLS Next new tier, visit MichiganBucksAcademy.com. Flint City Bucks are Michigan's top soccer franchise with 4 national championships, 9 conference titles, and 15 Great Lakes Division titles. They have produced 107 players for Major League Soccer, and they focus on attracting top talent and shaping soccer's future. Michigan Bucks Academy joins MLS Next new competition tier starting in September of 2025. This offers elevated levels of play and flexibility for high school participation. The Academy will provide premier development, high-performance training, and exposure to scouts through regional tournaments and MLS Next events. For more information on tryouts, training programs, and key updates as we prepare for our first season in MLS Next new tier, visit MichiganBucksAcademy.com.
Back live on Inside the Game, Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky, hour number 2, our all sports section here on the show. Just got done talking about our biggest nightmare matchups in American professional sports. A lot of good selections there. Want you guys to get involved on the conversation, those we talk about all the time. You can do that by joining us either live here on Inside the Game or follow us on social media. Drop a comment on one of our videos. We'd love to get your comments up on our show. I guess we haven't done a mailbag in a while. I guess that's something that we could probably dive into tomorrow if we want to, because I feel like with every passing day we get some doozy of comments on our videos. So we will certainly touch on mailbag and all of that tomorrow. But very quickly wanted to touch on this. John Harbaugh nearing a deal with the San Francisco Giants to become their next head coach. By the way, Brian Daboll has not been mentioned in any coaching circles whatsoever.
I wonder why.
In the National Football League. I mean, it wasn't great, but I mean, come on, man. I mean, like, you're going to hold that against him? Like, the Giants, he inherited a mess, and that's, what it ended up being. That's fair. He wasn't able to do anything with it, but wild to me that he hasn't been at least considered anywhere. But anyways, John Harbaugh nearing a deal after the surprising decision for the Ravens to fire John Harbaugh, now looks like he's going to be in New York. I believe it's a 5-year deal from what we were talking about earlier that the Giants are looking to get Harbaugh on. What's your first takeaway when you see this?
He's a good football coach. He's won a Super Bowl before. He's been at the Ravens for as long as I was like thinking about this yesterday. With Harbaugh gone from the Ravens and Tomlin gone from the Steelers, I think those are the only 2 remaining coaches that have been in the same spot ever since I started watching football. So that was a little interesting to watch or to see unfold. But no, John Harbaugh's a good football coach. The only thing that he's got to understand is how can he finish games, because there's a lot of games in the Ravens over the last decade or so that should be wins, whether that's the regular season, whether that's the playoffs, that they've got to win. Is it a player thing? Is it a coach thing? But I feel like when it's that long of time, eventually it's on the coaches, because you've got to win these games. It's not always on the players, because players come and go. You're the only constant that remains over these failed playoff runs and failed wins over the last 10 years or so. So at some point, it's not always on the player. At some point, it's on the coaching. But I think John Harbaugh is one hell of a football coach. He's better than Jim. Sorry, Jim, I love you, but he's better than you.
Yeah, he's better than Jim. Yeah,
he's a better head coach than Jim Harbaugh. Even though Jim Harbaugh has brought me more joy than you, John, I'll tell you that. And pain, I guess, and pain. But no, he's a good football coach. There's a reason why he got 8 calls within the first hour of him
45 minutes,
getting fired.
Freaking crazy.
I will say this: I think it's a really good fit for the Giants. Am I allowed?
Oh
to say
yeah.
That? Am I allowed to say that the Giants did something good?
100%.
Like, I know that's like crazy to hear, but I like it.
You got beef with the Giants?
No. I had no beef with the Giants. I'm just saying, like, usually the Giants are always.
Oh, they actually made a good decision.
Yeah. So am I allowed to say that? That's what I'm wondering. Am I allowed to say that they did something good? But no, I think with the young core, the young nucleus that they have, and a young quarterback, Jackson Dart, that showed strides in his rookie year, and then you finally give him some real coaching, and a guy that has developed quarterbacks. Let's be real. Lamar Jackson was an MVP. Remember, Lamar Jackson was a running back his first year. Like, dude did not throw the football. He's won a couple MVPs, made a couple runs in the playoffs. Joe Flacco even. But you give Jackson Dart, and then you have a young nucleus, and you already have a good defensive line as it is. So, and there's a couple offensive line pieces in Evan Neal. So there's some pieces. It's a young core. You could argue whether the Ravens are in a better spot or the Giants are in a better spot at this moment in time. But Harbaugh, he's getting $20 million a year, which puts him in the Andy Reid category. I don't hate it. I think it's a good move for the Giants, and I think it's a really good fit. The only issue I would say is it's New York. The media, it's amped up a little bit. There's a little bit of a bigger spotlight than in Baltimore, Maryland. But no, I
Yeah,
like
and
it.
if there's someone that I think can control a room, the way that John Harbaugh can, I think it makes it, just that much better for them. And I think that he is the perfect embodiment of someone that New York needs, right? Strong-willed. He's been around in the league for a long time. He can command a room. He knows how to build a roster. I think all of those things are really important, especially in a city like New York, and that franchise who, again, like we forget, the Giants at one point were a very, very good organization. Won a Super Bowl in 2008, won a Super Bowl in 2012. And obviously I know that 2012 team, it was more Eli Manning who kind of carried the weight for that team. They just had an inconsistent running game. But when you go back to 2008, man, I mean, that was a team that could pound the rock, and they prided themselves on a good offensive line. They could move the football. And so I think, there have been, as much as I love Lamar Jackson, man, I think he's shown a level of inconsistency throughout his time. And I'm not going to put this on Lamar. I think John Harbaugh obviously has some personal responsibility on his shoulders as to how things went during his, final years with them. One playoff win in the last however many years he was with Baltimore. I was looking at the stat a little bit earlier. Not many. 10 playoff games in his first 7 seasons, and then won just 3 postseason, 3 in the 11 years. So not a good mark for him. But I think the thing that I've learned about watching the Harbaugh brothers throughout the course of their coaching careers, whether it be Jim or John, they're both culture setters. And right now, San Francisco. Why do I keep calling them the San Francisco Giants? I'm thinking baseball, man. Come on,
They're only a couple months away, but we're not. We're still in football mode at the moment.
New York, the one thing New York desperately needs is a culture setter. And I think someone like John Harbaugh certainly has the ability to set that culture and at least get them moving back in the right direction. So I think he's a good fit in New York. In terms of Brian Daboll, who knows? I don't know if anybody's really chomping at the bit to get that guy to lead their team, even as a coordinator. But let's transition into our final point here before we get to question of the day, because I know we got a fun question of the day. And the NBA trade deadline coming up. Ryan, the Pistons right now are number 1 in the East, and they are in a position, and we talk about prime positions. They have all their first-round draft picks to potentially trade. I know that you got the banner up at the bottom there, so clearly people can tell exactly where we're going with this conversation. But you saw a potential trade that the Pistons could make yesterday to keep their spot atop the East. And you think Michael Porter Jr. could potentially be on his way to Detroit.
Yeah, and I'm all for the Pistons not disrupting this young core. I'm all for not giving away an Asar Thompson, not giving away a Cade, not giving away a Jalen Duren. Ron Holland, again, he feels like he's an outside guy. He's outside looking in terms of the young core, but Ron Holland's progressing pretty well. So I don't really want to include Ron Holland in a trade, but I guess if it includes getting a Michael Porter Jr., I guess I'm fine with it. But this trade in particular, I would have said yes in a heartbeat, and then would have pinched myself after I would have said yes to see if it was real. You're telling me this mock draft trade, or not mock draft trade, this mock trade was Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, a 2028 first and a 2027 first, or 2027 second, rather. I would have been like, yeah, where do I sign? You're telling me to get rid of an expiring contract in Tobias Harris that no one really wants to bring back anyway. Jaden Ivey, who he was looking good last year, and then ever since his injury, the Pistons have gone up, and he's just in a bad spot. It's just odd man out at this point with Jaden Ivey. Really wish he became something because I really liked Ivey, especially coming out of Purdue. And then you're giving me a first-round pick in 2028. I don't care. It's a first-round pick in the NBA. It don't matter. Unless you suck, the NBA first-round picks don't mean anything. They don't mean a damn. And a second-round pick, who cares? You can throw in 3 more seconds. I don't care. But no, I think that's a trade because I think it's a really good trade for the Pistons because you get Michael Porter Jr., an experienced player in the playoffs. The Pistons, a lot of this roster only has 6 playoff games under their belt. I mean, Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert, Tobias Harris, they have a handful. But outside of that, this whole young nucleus, Beef Stew, 6 games. 6 games under their belt, and that was all of last year. And I think of a guy that can stretch the floor a little bit. I feel like that's what the Pistons are lacking. I feel like whenever they get a stretch big, I know it's such a luxury, but you got to get a stretch big at some point, especially to compete. And I also see this move as competing against the Thunder. The Thunder are so good, even though I don't like Shea. But this is a guy that has been in the playoffs, won a championship, can score baskets when he can. He's a bucket, and he just scores. And the defense, question marks, but you know what? The Pistons play defense as it is anyway. At some point, that energy is contagious. Don't mean to quote Jarvis Landry, but it's contagious.
Contagious. No, here's what I'll say. The first part of what you said is absolutely true. Messing with the continuity of this team, right? Like, that's a scary thing if you're Teron Langdon because you look at, obviously what they've done already. And Tobias Harris has been obviously a key part of that. Like, he was part of the Pistons, was traded away, and then he came back. And now, obviously, since coming back, like, he is a key part of that kind of that veteran group for this Pistons team. And so it would be really hard to justify it in that way because, again, we're dealing with, if this is like a video game, this is a no-brainer, right? In my mind, right? Like, stats for stats, it's not even close. Michael Porter Jr. is the most productive person in this conversation, but you're considering, again, we're considering like human beings here, right? Like, this group, for some reason,
fair, we're
they've
dealing
meshed.
with the Nets. To be fair, it's possible we're dealing with the Nets.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So, I mean, we could definitely fleece them, I'm sure. But, you're dealing with that component of it, too. So that's the biggest question. If I think about the Michael Porter Jr. trade, listen, from a statistical perspective, it's a no-brainer. He's averaging 26 with 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists per game. He's shooting over 40% from distance this year. 9.4 attempts per game. So obviously he's a sharpshooter, and I think he's a better sharpshooter than Tobias. He's a far better sharpshooter than Tobias Harris is, and typically that's Tobias. I think so. You don't think so?
I was just being sarcastic.
Oh, boy! I thought you were being serious for a second. I'm like, whoa, wait, hold on.
My bad.
Sorry, I'm a little wired over here. No, but I mean, the floor spacing, his shooting, everything about MPJ's game would be great for the Pistons. But again, the main question remains, would he fit into that Detroit culture right away? Which, again, it matters, especially when you're talking about being first in the East right now. You're first in the East for a reason. Well, oh boy, more breaking news?
Some of the games that games involving the following teams were allegedly rigged or impacted. Investigators say this one strikes close to home. Western Michigan, Butler, Okay, this one makes sense. St. John's. Rick Pitino's he's the godfather, for crying out loud. He's a part of the mob. We know that. Yeah. Tulane, East Carolina, McNeese State, Nicholls State, St. Louis, Duquesne, LaSalle, Fordham. I don't know how to pronounce that one. That's SUNY. Buffalo, Kent State, Ohio, Georgetown, and DePaul. You know who wasn't? The damn Chips. There's like 4 MAC schools in there. But you know what the chip was? Staying firm.
Oh my goodness gracious, man! Betting is crazy, man. We're gonna see. I'm telling you, we're gonna see more of these stories as the years go.
Except
like it's just gonna be a matter of time.
390.
I mean, you're right. I mean, you ain't wrong on that. But man, ooh, yep, it's the Wild West, folks. It continues to be the Wild West. Let's put that out. Let's put that on the list tomorrow. That's definitely a story to dive into. Want to get the people's opinion on that. But anyways, MPJ to Detroit. Listen, from a talent perspective, shoo-in. And you're right. There's not a lot of risk, I don't think, in my mind, involved with making that move. But again, does he fit into the vein of what the Pistons are trying to be, and does he fit into that culture? That's the biggest question to me. But moving on, question of the day. Let's get to it.
Question of the day. We'll have some more time to kill. 10 minutes to go. But of course, question of the day. Salt Athletic. We're the official sponsors here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off that #1 smell-proof cleat bag that works. Scan the QR code or visit saltathletic.com today. And we've already alluded to this. And if you were here when we were interviewing Jasmine Aikey, here's question of the day. If you could see any artist or band live concert, dead or alive, who would you choose?
All right, Ryan, I got one more Grand Rapids history trivia question for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Where is the Red Hot Chili Peppers lead singer Anthony Kiedis from?
Oh, he's from Michigan.
Yeah, Grand Rapids, Michigan. All right, thank you.
I knew that
yeah,
one.
Just outside of Grand Rapids, actually at Lowell. No, man, the Red Hot Chili Peppers is also like you think about bands that like okay. Oh man, now I'm thinking about it. Oh man. Okay, you know what? I take it back. Love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm gonna go Bob Marley.
Oh, wow.
If I could listen to
That's
Bob
a
Marley
complete
perform
180.
live, would be something else. There is no other artist in my mind that puts me in a better mood than Bob Marley. I could play Bob Marley on the worst day of my life, and it would find a way to just put a smile on my face. And the reason why I love Bob Marley, and his son's really good too. His son sounds a lot like him. I've listened to some of his songs, but the entire point as to why he made music was to make people laugh and be happy. You know, he has a great quote where he said, the people who are trying to destroy this world don't take off days. They don't take days off. They get up every day and think about how they can continue to impact the world in a negative way. So why would I take a day off? Right. So, I mean, Three Little Birds, One Love. I mean, every song that he made. I mean, it's just like one of those things where you just put it on and it's just, but you know this as well as I know this. There's a difference between listening to someone on iTunes and actually going to listening to someone in person. That there is a stark difference. I mean, even like Metallica, man. Like I listened to Metallica back in the day to get the blood flowing a little bit, but you go in person and listen to Metallica and you're looking at the mosh pit and you're like, maybe I should go hop in there. I'm feeling it right
Greatest
now. Deep
college
down in my
football
bones,
entrance of all
I'm
time.
feeling it, dude. So
It's a
I think
bucket
Bob
list.
Marley would be Bob Marley. And again, I will never get the chance because Bob Marley's not here anymore. But, I would give anything to be able to see him live.
So honestly, for me right now, it's Bruno Mars just because I bought the tickets yesterday. Like that's what I want to see right now. But
right,
no,
fair enough.
actually thinking, obviously, #1 is the Temptations. Like it's 100% them. I can't. That's why I like Francisco Lindor so much because his walk-up song.
To those
is
who
my-
don't know, to those who don't know Ryan, he is a like 60 to 65-year-old man packaged in a 22-year-old man's body. So a very close relationship with dad and grandpa growing up. You can certainly tell. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it was. Well, I'll tell you, my Motown was. So my dad was forced to listen to Motown when he was a kid because my grandma and his dad, they all listened to it and they're like, you have to listen to it. And then I was growing up and I was like, what is this? And my dad's like, oh, it's the Temptations, it's Motown. Like I was forced to listen to this. You're forced to listen to it. I'm like, okay. Like a lot of people don't realize that a lot of my music taste
Yeah.
is through my parents or like my family members because I didn't have a say on what was in charge of music. I didn't have a say what songs were playing. Like Taylor Swift was not playing at these events or at these family gatherings. One Direction was not played at family gatherings. Like this stuff wasn't played. Like Bruno Mars wasn't even really played. But then I eventually found him, and he's a
You're
stud.
telling me your dad knew how to use the aux? Your dad and your mom knew how to use the aux?
Yeah, because if I tried to change a song, I get yelled at. So yeah, I would say so. But no,
My dad can't work an Alexa, so I'm surprised that your parents know how to work that. My dad's over here yelling at Alexa, and he can't get it to work. And I'm like, Daddy, you just got to say the word Alexa, and you're good to go. That's
we
it.
just-
That's all you got to do.
Bluetooth speaker. That's all we gotta do. Bluetooth speaker, and that's it. But no, the Temptation. Like, look, it's my for a lot of people out there. It's my favorite band out there. Obviously, 4 out of the 5 original crew is dead. And if you want to go out of the 6, what Dennis Franklin got in the mix, he was a dog. 5 out of the 6 stars are dead. So Otis Williams ain't making a return anytime soon. But that is why I like Francisco Lindor so much, because he comes out, his walk-up song is My Girl. I don't even know if he knows the song. I don't know if he likes the song. I don't know if it's simply to get the crowd going. But Francisco Lindor is one of my favorite baseball players simply because of that reason. And I don't even watch the Mets games. I don't think I've ever watched an at-bat of Francisco Lindor this past year. But he is my favorite player because of that sole reason. And I've also listened to bands that are cover bands of the Temptations, and it just sucks. It ain't nothing like the Temptations.
It's never the same.
What I could hear on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that would be mine. Bruno Mars, obviously, because I'm going, and obviously the Temptations because they're my favorite. And they're
you can't. You can imitate, but you can never duplicate, right? That's the saying, and that is certainly the case when it comes to these people. But no, I will say, Detroit in general, it's crazy to just look at the history of music legends that have come from the city of Detroit, because it really is. It's a laundry list, man. And the one that I think of, who I regard as the second greatest pure singer of all time, and that's Aretha Franklin. Detroit native.
I thought she was down south.
Yeah. No, I thought Aretha, I'm pretty sure Aretha Franklin's from Detroit. 99% sure.
Tennessee.
Didn't she move? I thought she lived in Detroit, though. Or she made... Oh, no. Yeah, so she lived in... She was born in Tennessee, but I think she lived because she died in Detroit. So she lived the majority of her life in Detroit. Now, I don't know when she moved or when her family moved to Detroit, but anyways, she was the face of that genre of music in the city. She's a Motown legend. So, but anyways, I think she's, in terms of the greatest, I go Freddie Mercury is number 1 on my list, and Aretha Franklin is a close second.
She moved when she was 2, so yeah, she's basically from Detroit.
Yeah, right. So anyways, but you got Freddie, and then you have Aretha. And oddly enough, for those people who don't know a lot of the history of Freddie Mercury and Queen, he took a lot of his inspiration, especially for his ballads, like Somebody to Love. The way that he was singing in that song and his style of singing, which is obviously something that was regarded, his versatility was just amazing with Freddie Mercury. He took that from Aretha Franklin. He took a lot of his inspiration for those ballads from Aretha Franklin, and he was at her funeral. He spoke at her funeral. So in one way or another, whether or not they directly came from Detroit or they influenced other artists in the style of their singing and their genres, there's a Detroit connection everywhere you look in the music industry, with some of the top artists of all time.
You even got to think. Bob Seger, another one. I don't like Kid Rock, but Kid Rock is obviously from Romeo. Also, he grew up in a massive house, so don't think he's just a trailer park kid. He's a massive house. A ton of the Motown people are from Detroit. You think of the Four Tops as well. Smokey, I don't believe is from Detroit, but obviously he made the most of his money here. Smokey's up there for my terms of best singers. He's a dog. He's an absolute dog.
Marvin Gaye, Madonna.
Yeah,
both from Detroit.
Right before you mentioned Aretha Franklin, I was gonna say Madonna. I was just about to say her, but no, Madonna. You're right. Another one. We even talked about Eminem earlier. There's Stevie Wonder. We didn't even mention.
Ted Nugent.
There are just so many influences of music from this state, and I would argue,
and Eminem, as we already mentioned, who I regard as one of the top lyrics from just a lyricist perspective. I think it's him and Pac. I don't. That's the list. Kendrick maybe, but the gap between them is still massive.
I would argue that Motown is probably arguably the greatest genre / era, whatever you want to call it, of music at a time. Sorry. And
no,
even the guy that created it, Berry Gordy, got all of his inspiration from the Ford plant. And isn't Diana Ross from here too? Yeah, Diana Ross is here too. We just carry music, I guess. That's really about it.
No, it's just
what is her name? I think Lizzo's technically from here. I think Lizzo's actually
Oh,
T
God.
Grizzlies.
You had
from
to
here.
go. You had to go along and ruin it with Lizzo. We were doing so good, and
But-
then you wanted to drop Lizzo in there.
But no, I'm just saying, like, I don't like her music, but she's big or she's popular.
It's true. She has made an impact, and I will give you that. I will give you
Isn't
that.
T Grizzlies from here, isn't he?
T Grizzly is also from Detroit.
So like
Trying
even
to think of other. Yeah.
even though we don't produce the amount that we did in the past, we still do. So Sada Baby's from here too. So we got some dogs all over the place.
Royce to 5'9". I mean, man, I'm reading up on some. I don't even know who. Babyface Ray, Icewear Vezo. I don't know who these people are, but yeah, they're from Detroit. But anyways, a long laundry list of musical performers from the city of Detroit. And that caps off episode 208 of Inside the Game. We appreciate you guys as always stopping by. Good conversation today. We're going to be right back at it tomorrow morning. You know the drill. Follow us on social media wherever you find us. National Soccer Network. We're going to be dropping clips from this podcast. Good interview today with Jasmine Aikey and Ryan Glinsky. If you want to go back and watch that one, catch our show. I'm sure it'll be up on YouTube as well. But until we talk to you guys tomorrow, episode 209, our final episode of the week. Any final thoughts, Ryan? You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I was already. Stay safe, everybody. I was waiting to just
ready
mute
to-
myself because I thought you were going to end it. My bad. Stay safe, everybody.
No, you're good. Stay safe. Stay classy. We'll see you for episode 209 on Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.